Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls in here, out there, around the world, I am your hostess, Professor Broke, and today I am joined by Dr. Mr. Fuji.
Hey guys.
So tell us a little bit about what you're going to play for us today.
So this game is the newest in the Monster Rancher line of games, and it is a spin-off, but it is also a mainline game called Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher. It is a Monster Rancher game, but the unique spin on it is that we are raising monsters from the Ultraman series.
Okay, so I know you're really big into the Ultraman series. This kind of gives me Pokemon vibes, is that right?
Not as much. This is more trying to think. This is a simulation game, basically. Okay. I have found that the most similar type of game, if you were to get as close as possible to this in another genre, it would be games where you race horses. Like
horses?
Where you raise a racehorse.
So are we talking about like Nintendogs, but horses?
This is...
Hi, Milk Z.
So you'll see that we will get a kaiju, because you don't get monsters in this, you get kaiju instead. It takes place in the same world as the other Monster Ranchers, but instead of raising monsters which are, you know, like the size of animals, we are raising kaiju, which are, you know, like the monsters in Power Rangers or Ultraman or...
So it's a little bit cheesy, but still kind of fun.
Yeah, I was not sure I was going to like this because I love Monster Rancher, but the thought of the things that you raise being based on guys in rubber suits, you know,
right?
Less appealing immediately. But I found after playing it a little while that it still feels like Monster Rancher.
So do you find that this game is better or worse than the game you fell in love with?
It has a lot of updates on Monster Rancher. It's closest to probably Monster Rancher 2. It doesn't have some of the more in-depth stuff from like Monster Rancher 4, which is probably my favorite in the series. There is a lot of interesting stuff in here, like you'll see pretty early on, your monster will have a trait based on its species.
Okay, so Pokemon have traits.
Yeah, it'd be similar to the abilities that Pokemon have. But you can also feed them special cookies that give them a trait from another species. And then as they age, they unlock slots to where they can get up to 4 traits.
So, these cookies, how do you acquire them? Is that like, is this one of those games where you get daily rewards just for logging in?
No. There is an online component where you can fight other people's monsters, but it's completely optional. The cookies you get by a cookie shop in the town. So, I don't know if anybody's played any Monster Rancher games, but the big draw for Monster Rancher used to be on PlayStation that you would pop out your game disc and put in a CD or DVD, and it would read some data on the disc, and it would pop out a new monster for you.
That is... Wait, you put one... You just take the whole disc out.
Right, so you would go to the shrine where they regenerate monsters because they're trapped in discs.
Right.
But you could use a disc, like it could be a PlayStation game, it could be a DVD, it could be a music CD. You would go to the shrine and say, hey, I want a new monster. And they'd be like, all right, wait a second. Okay, take out the game disc, put in the disc you want to read, and you could read the game disc itself. And then it would read the data, and then it would be like, okay, here's your monster. And it would generate a monster based on the first few lines of data on the disc.
That's incredible. And what year did that come out approximately?
I would say it was in the early 90s when the first Monster Rangers came out.
Wow, that is something that would have blown my mind. I remember playing Scanners as a child, which you and I have had this discussion before with Scanners. It was basically like a pocket little device. Kind of, it looked about 3 times the size of a Tamagotchi.
Yeah.
You carried it around, and you would scan the barcodes on different things in the house. And each of the scans had the potential to unlock an alien, and they were sent down from whatever ship. To be honest, when I first got my scanners, I went into my mom's pantry and I scanned everything. The functionality of it wasn't very good, so it probably took me 2 hours to do 30 cans. So you just sit there scanning. It would say scanning for 30 seconds, and then it'd be like, oh, didn't work, try again. But it was pretty cool. So I hope they do come out with a new Scanners version. But that was completely off on a tangent. So let's jump into this game and see what it's about.
So, as you know, discs aren't as popular anymore,
right?
And we're playing this on the Switch. Over here it's digital only, so this is very reminiscent of the opening of Monster Rancher 2, but they've replaced monsters with kaiju.
Okay.
So this cave painting thing is similar to the opening of Monster Rancher 2. So that right there,
I definitely recognize that.
Yeah, that is Ultraman. One of the Ultramen.
So now this is which Eastern culture is this based off of? Because I know you tend to know a lot about the societies.
Well, I mean, Ultraman is a Japanese show.
Okay.
It came over to the U.S. and Western countries. I want to say it was in the 80s, 70s or 80s. And, I mean, it was basically equivalent to Godzilla.
Right.
Where it was badly dubbed. It played on TV, and you would catch it, and you would never understand what was going on.
Right.
But instead of Godzilla fighting monsters, it would be a man who turned into a giant man, and who would fight giant monsters.
Okay, so it was basically like when my cousins and I growing up, because it's basically a running joke at this point because we have so many cousins. My cousins and I growing up, when we would defeat a level, you would obviously go back to that level and it would be the same boss, but he would be bigger. So we always called the final boss the big man. And I didn't realize that was abnormal until I got older, and I'm having a normal conversation with somebody, and I was like, yeah, that essay's the big man, and they're like, the hell are you talking about? I was like, the boss, you gotta beat the big man.
Okay, so we have started a new game here because I'm 10 years, 13 years into the game.
Okay.
Because you go a week at a time.
Right.
Okay. So we're starting a new game to just show the beginning of the game.
Okay.
So our tale unfolds in the city of Nice, capital city of the island of Latour. Here, a new Kaiju breeder would be born. And this is the Kaiju Breeders Association. This is very reminiscent of some of the older Monster Ranger games.
Yes, Milk Z. Oh, what's your name?
Yeah, we're naming our character.
Okay, cool.
So what do we want to name our character?
Well, your gamer tag is typically Allrin. Allrin?
Yes, but we're doing this under a different profile on my Switch.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm. What if you're? We combine our usernames.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm typically Straight Edge, and you're typically Allrin.
Mm-hmm.
All Edge. You know what? Perfect. If you can pronounce it, I'll accept it. Aldage. Hi, Kenny. I'm gonna go do homework and I'll put back. Bye, Milk Z. Thank you for stopping in, buddy. It's good to see your name in the chat again. We're having a party in honor of our 100th subscriber on YouTube. So you might want to jump into the Twitch and jump into the Discord. I got a bunch of different socials. So we got a lot of stuff going on. It's good to see you back. Kenny, you in fact are amazing. Don't even get me started.
So, they have not found our license.
Okay, that's not good.
So, how do we want to answer this?
That's strange. There's some mistake preventing me from issuing your license. Bye, Milk Z. But I graduated from the Breeder Academy. But I applied fair and square. Well, the second one sounds a lot more whiny. Let's go with the first one.
Okay.
I think Milk Z might be having a stroke.
Okay. So this character is actually from older Monster Rancher games. In every Monster Rancher game, you get an assistant who helps you out with your monsters.
So Holly is from an older game then?
Yes. Okay. So what are we going to say?
So she says, my name is Holly. Seems like I'll be your instructor until your license comes through. Let's do that one.
This one?
Yeah. She knows who she is. You know what? From now on, that's how I'm gonna... Like, when people introduce themselves to me, I'm definitely going for that.
I like to go with something that I picked up from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
I'm ready.
There was an episode where Master Shake just gets tired of Meatwad.
Okay.
And takes him out back and saws him in half with a table saw. But it doesn't harm him, it just splits him in half and he becomes multiple Meatwads.
My God.
And so one of the Meatwads goes, "Hi, I'm Meatwad." And the other one goes, "Hi, I'm Meatwad too." And he goes, "Of the New Jersey Meatwads."
Oh, God. I remember that episode. I'm the New Jersey Meatwad. I just realized that I am extremely thirsty and I have a cup of Arnold Palmer out of my car.
Okay.
I'm gonna go grab that. So entertain the lovely Kenny, because I think she may be one of the few people on right now.
Okay. Looks like we've got 5 people total watching. But, so Holly says she came from the mainland to teach people how to raise kaiju. I'm still getting used to things around here. I'm looking forward to working with you. Which specific crimes? Also, Wild Canopy has appeared in the Twitch chat. We are at the city of Nice. And they're going to ask us if we know the difference between monsters and kaiju. this is going to lead us to getting our first kaiju, and I'm going to wait for Professor Broke to come back for this one, because I believe Professor Broke will actually enjoy the method that we generate monsters with. So they could not use discs anymore because it's a dead format for the most part. We don't use DVDs and CDs like we used to, especially not for video games. We use like Blu-ray discs and things like that for Xbox and PlayStation. But for the most part, things have become digital, so they decided to try and use the hardware that the Switch already had to generate monsters. So monsters have always been in disc stones, and in fact Monster Rancher had an anime for a short time that was based around finding a specific disc stone to regenerate a legendary creature, and it's just basically a representation of using the CDs and DVDs that they used to use. And eventually Monster Rancher went to the DS and not the 3DS, but on the DS you couldn't use discs, obviously, so they used passwords, which this one also does. But instead of using passwords, you can also use the NFC readers, either on the Pro controller or the controller of the Switch itself. I believe I hear Professor Broke coming back, so we will go over how we're going to regenerate a monster that way. So, the different ways that we can get a monster: we can receive a supplied kaiju, which changes every season, which will give us one kaiju per season species to choose from. We can enter a code, which is a special code, which I have not looked up to see if there are any available yet. We can enter keywords, but the most entertaining one, I believe, is the memory board. And now that Professor Broke is back...
So here's something fun. I just realized that I didn't have any cup holders when you and I went to dinner. So I set it on the center console and forgot about it. And I was told to drive my car not like the granny I normally drive it as. So the entire back of my car is now tea lemonade.
Well, at least it will smell nice for a while.
It will not. It will mildew.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Okay, so as I was kind of explaining, we've got several different methods to generate a kaiju. We are getting our first monster, kaiju.
Okay.
So we can get a supplied kaiju for free. It's seasonal. I'm going to tell you right now, it's Gamora, which is basically Godzilla with weird horns behind its head.
Okay.
It's an all-arounder, but...
Oh god, what does that smell?
Well, maple was just right here.
Oh man, something smells bad. You smell that?
Yeah.
Holy cow. It's like vomit?
No. That's poop.
That's gotta be like wet poops.
I don't know. Maple was... She walked in here, I don't know where she went.
Maybe it was a poot because I don't smell it anymore.
I guess.
Buddy, did you do that? Because if you did that, you're gonna sleep outside. Yeah, you're gonna sleep outside in the rain. How about that? I thought I was gonna have to clean up a puddle of poopy.
Okay, so we can enter a keyword. We can just make up a phrase, basically.
Okay.
We can enter a code, which I don't know if there's any special codes out yet. Or we can use a memory board.
Okay.
A memory board can be anything with an NFC chip in it. Other than Amiibos for some reason, because they don't work.
That's a weird thing not to work on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. So it will cost us 2,000 gold to use a memory board. As of right now, we have 30,000. But we have a better chance to get more variety of monster.
Okay, so let's give it a shot. I'm gonna trust your judgment on this one since you played it.
Okay. You can read memory boards to regenerate Kaiju. I believe Kenny has asked a question in chat.
Kenny, I have one dog, and my cousin, Shuckleberry Finn, has 2 dogs. So we are sitting in this household right now where I'm streaming at a total of 3 dogs. And as well as Mr. Crime's cat, so he has 2 cats.
So in Japan, they have ultra medals, which have specific, they're basically just cards that have specific kaiju on them that you can scan. Okay. So blah 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 NFC tags. It won't read any of your data. Okay. So I was told online that this thing might work. This is a Dave & Buster's point card. Oh.
How did that go? How?
So we won't know until we actually regenerate from it. But it read the card, so it will generate a monster.
Okay.
So let's begin the regeneration. So this will show us what kaiju we will get.
So is this a completely random thing, or is it based?
It's based on the data of the card. So Bemstar, which not my favorite.
That kind of looks like Dave and Buster together. Yeah.
Okay, so how are we gonna answer? How does it feel receiving your first kaiju?
The second answer seems great to me.
So, the ranch is where we raise our monsters. So traits are the things we were talking about with the cookies. Kaiju that you have failed to regenerate from memory boards can be regenerated from the field guide once the breed is unlocked. So, what that guy basically said is there are other things that that card can make, but we don't have the breeds unlocked for that. Okay. So this gives us an overview of the dude. So his total stats is 6,008, 700 life, 1249 power, 576 intelligence, 1313 skill, 1484 speed, and 686 defense. His guts recovery is speedy, and his move speed is sluggish.
So the G's and the F's.
That is the letter grade of their stat total.
And G is just like good?
G is the lowest. So it goes from G to S, basically. G, F, B, D, C, B, A, S.
I will never remember that order.
It's basically, it will go up to A, and then S is better than A.
Okay, perfect.
So looking at this dude, we can see he's... okay, so life is pretty self-explanatory. That's his HP. Power is physical attacks. Intelligence is magical attacks. But also defense against them. Skill is your accuracy. Speed is how good you are at dodging, and defense is how good you are at defending against physical attacks. Guts are what you use to attack, and they recharge up to 99 during a fight. And move speed is how easy it is to move back and forth. So it didn't give us a choice. We have to take this guy because he's our first guy.
Okay.
What are we gonna name him?
Well, I think I know what Kenny is going to name him. Kenny's probably going to want to name him Patrick. What do you think, Kenny? Yep. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, so we are going to name it.
Are you really going to do the misspelling? Ah, yes, Patrick.
Yes.
Well,
that sounds appropriate.
I am excited to work with Patrick.
Let's do our best to raise Patrick. Once you're ready, we can go back to the ranch.
Yeah, I kind of do like Patrick. That's kind of a cool name.
We're not going to go to the ranch immediately. We're going to take a look at our guy. So, he has 0 months, 0 years. His personality for now is carefree. Once they hit like a year and a half old, they develop more of a personality.
Okay.
His weight is normal. It's basically whether he's fat or skinny. If you're fatter, you take less physical damage, but it's harder to dodge. If you're skinny, you take more damage, but it's easier to dodge. And your style is how strict you are with them, basically. So, Bimstar, which is its breed, has the trait Omni Attack Tractor, which allows him to gain weight easier.
Okay.
Let's see. He has 3 attacks. So damage rating is similar to stat rating. The higher the letter, the better. So damage is how much damage it's going to do. Withering means you can damage their guts, as well as their health. Skill is how easy it is to hit, and critical is how often it will crit. And then these are different ranges. So you move back and forth during a fight, and that determines what you can move, and you can see a guts cost there. And it shows range, and if it has a special attribute. And it will tell you their likes and dislikes. A Jellicent has appeared in chat.
Ooh.
That is a nice one.
Are you going to attempt to catch it?
No. So this guy likes black coffee. He likes Gonku candy. He likes good food.
Black coffee.
Yes.
That is heavy for a child.
Yeah.
Kenny, what kind of child are you raising?
It dislikes ice blocks and bad food.
I mean, she is Australian, so...
Now, Kaiju, Ultra Kaiju introduced anger as a stat for the monsters. And when their anger gauge gets full, they will go on a rampage. And that can do different things. But it's another thing to manage, and it makes sense because these are gigantic monsters that would, go on a rampage. So you have to manage their anger. So this is the woods outside the city. We're headed to our ranch.
That does not look like the woods I'm used to associating with the word woods.
Well, you have to keep in mind the scale.
So, Patrake, we are taking Patrake into the woods now.
No, we're taking it to our ranch.
To our ranch?
Now this is Bird Dog, which is a different kaiju, but it's wild. So, there's a kaiju on the loose close to the city. What are we gonna do?
We have to protect the city. I think it's Patrake's decision if he wants to fight with us.
We have to protect the city. You're gonna fight with that kaiju?
Yep, we can't just abandon everyone and run. Alright, so he's screaming.
So I want you to know I have not yet raised a brimstone. I've generated them, but I have not raised them, so I don't know specifically what they're best at.
Alright. So how is this gonna work? Is it...
Okay. So battles are real time. It's generally, unless you're overstated for the level of fight, it's gonna be a hit each other and try and have the most health left when the timer runs out.
Okay.
Okay, so this is our first battle, and it's our job to tell them what to do. So, I'm not gonna watch the battle tutorial because
you've played this game quite a bit.
I've played several Monster Ranchers. Basically, you move back and forth, trying to make sure that they can't line up their attacks, and you try and line up your attack so that you're the most accurate and able to hit and take the least amount of damage.
Okay.
So if you look at our stats here, we can tell our dude has low defense, low intelligence, and kind of low health, but we're pretty good at hitting and dodging. This guy is just a wall with low stats otherwise. He's got good amount of health, good amount of defense, but his other stats are really low.
So this is basically you just have to make him into a punching bag.
Yeah, we're trying to hurt him, but we're trying to basically do more damage to him than he does to us. So the longer you let your guts build up, you can see down there in the center, that shows us how many guts we have. 99 is the highest. So this guy is generating guts extremely fast. And it'll show our rough hit percentage. It's not really something you can rely on. Because I've seen 4% hit, and I've seen like 70 to 80% miss. But it gives you an idea of how accurate the attack is going to be. So attack can have different things like bone, which it reduces your intelligence. So we need to be more aggressive here because he's got more health and we're running out of time.
I am really getting an intimate Pokemon battle vibe.
Kind of, sort of. So we beat him out barely with 66% health versus 60%. This fight is fairly easy because it's not a tutorial fight.
So was that his victory dance?
Yes.
Phenomenal.
Yes. Also, that thing on his stomach is a mouth of some sort.
What?
Yeah.
I'm not good.
So I will say a regular Birdon is definitely stronger than this dude. And you have to unlock Birdon by doing certain things.
Does Patrick drink coffee from his stomach hole mouth?
Well, he's got a regular mouth, but he can suck things into his stomach. It's some of his attacks.
He's a polywhirl.
Yeah, he's like a starfish. Alright, so here's a big thing.
Okay.
This is what happens when monsters are rampaging.
Wow. The sheer presence. The height. The build. The tights.
So, anytime an Ultra is fighting, the fight's on. Like, when your monster rampages and an Ultra comes to calm it down, you cannot control your monster. So, this is the difference between an Ultraman, and this is base Ultraman, and this Birdon we just fought.
Okay. So you're basically gonna B-slap him.
But we're not controlling Ultraman. This is basically their justification for why people can just hang out and raise monsters. Is because if they lose control of their monsters, an Ultraman surely can calm them down. So, the regular Ultraman has just one-shot that Birdon.
Okay, so he just appears randomly?
No. So there are different things that can happen when your monster goes on a rampage.
Okay.
It can just like wander off. It can decide to eat a crap load of food for several weeks. It can wander off and not come back for weeks. It can come back and give you items. It can break your farm, which you have to pay to repair. It can wander off to somebody else's farm and break their farm, and then you have to pay for the repairs. It can also just get so angry that an Ultraman shows up and fights it to calm it down.
That's an interesting way that the developers decided to deal with anger.
Yeah. Also, there is a chance, if your monster has high enough loyalty, to raise the cap on their stats. So basically, stats can't go above 10,000.
Okay.
But you can raise that cap based on their loyalty, and sometimes it's through rampaging, and there are other ways to raise the cap, but I'm not sure how. But you're taking a risk if you force your monster to rampage, because you could be losing like a month or more of time, and Kaiju do have lifespans.
Oh my god.
So a Kaiju lives between 3 and 4 years, and they stay alive. So normally, like in other Monster Ranchers, you would just have to freeze your monster and then combine it with another monster later. So that is also another thing, is you can combine monsters and their breeds can alter each other. So there are sub-breeds of different monsters. So for defeating the Birdon, they gave us 70 grand.
That's it?
Yeah. Basically for this game, they just took everything in Monster Rancher and multiplied it by 10. So when you would get $1,000 or 1,000 gold in a regular Monster Rancher game, you'd get 10 grand in this one. But things cost 10 times as much because they're giant, obviously.
Gotcha. Wow, the wind is starting to kick up outside.
Yep. So what are we going to answer answer to somebody that we don't see, saying, "What's this now? I need a couple of new breeders I spy with my little eyes."
New breeders. So, if I'm out in the woods, I'm gonna say no.
We're out on the ranch now.
Okay. She lied. What in the hell is that?
Okay.
That is an abomination.
So I had to look this up. Because there will be helpers on your ranch and stuff like that. That's the way it's always been. This guy is Kanezo. So in one of the Ultraman series, there's this statue that these kids find. And the statue is like you give it coins and it kind of looks like this, but if you take the coins it can curse you and turn you into something like that, and you can only eat coins. And if you eat enough coins you go into a cocoon and become a giant version of it.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's great.
But instead of that, they just, I mean, it appeared in several of the Ultraman series, and I guess it's a popular character because they made, like, the guy who's running this ranch, Kanezo.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy's human size. He also got this ranch from his grandmother.
Okay.
And that's Grandma there.
Alright, so there's Nana.
Yeah.
Oh, literally! Wow, that was a great guess. If you were a grandma, what would you want your name to be?
My grandma?
Yeah.
I want my name to be G-Money.
G-Money?
Yeah.
That is damn hilarious. I would want to be something hilarious like Grandmama.
Okay, so we have to feed our monsters at the beginning of every month.
Blood sacrifice.
First, we have to decide what kind of food to give Betrayal.
Coffee, black.
So, all the foods cost different amount of money, have different things going on. They have likes and dislikes, da 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 da. All that matters for Betrayal is that he likes good food and dislikes bad food. So he doesn't really have much in the way of preferences. So, we have dried grass. So dependence and fear both affect loyalty. You want both to be high.
That's not healthy. That's really unhealthy. Why would they teach you that?
Well, you need the giant monster to fear you, because if it doesn't, it can eat you. It doesn't in the game, but you know. Honestly, I don't know. They've never done that in Monster Rancher before. Loyalty has always been a thing, and it was just basically how well you treated it. But you can see that every food has a tag, and then it will show you what it does. So this lowers dependence, raises fear, and drops weight significantly. And it's free because it's grass that's dried out.
Alright.
Then we got 6 Grain Brothers. This is just, it minorly ups dependence and fear and drops weight. It has the light tag. Heaping Salad, it ups everything. Fresh Fish Plate does the same, but it drops weight instead of raises it. Ultra Meat is warm. Very significantly raises weight, fear, and dependence. Nutrition Pellets are bad. It has the bad tag. These were relative to... You used to be able to just like give your monster like vitamins for a month instead of regular food.
Right.
Which worked out if you used items in a certain way. But the one thing that they did change is that you can only give your kaiju one item a week. It used to be you could just give them as many items as you wanted to get rid of their fatigue and their stress and stuff like that.
Jeez.
And giant egg is it's super expensive food. Basically, it makes them like us more, but fear us less, and get fat.
Interesting.
So, because this guy doesn't have much in the way of preferences other than he doesn't like bad food, and he gains weight quickly, I think we should focus on building his defense over his speed, and this is a good food for that.
Okay, some ultra meat.
Yeah.
What type of creature does ultra meat come from?
There are kaiju prey species.
Don't like it,
Yeah.
but okay.
So as we progress, we'll be able to add spices that will change some of the tags and effects.
I like how much intimacy they put into that art.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've always liked about Monster Rancher, is they put a lot of work into details. I also find it interesting that it used to be that you would just have like this toucan that would fly by and just drop the food or whatever to them, to your monster. And in this one, you have to have a crane with a crate to feed your kaiju.
What?
So, like, you have to they use this crane. So, if you kind of missed that there where he breathed out of his tummy and it said he looked satisfied.
Ooh, didn't like that very much. Ugh.
So, blah blah blah. I'll go with this without using this. Okay. So, we can also talk to Betrayk, just to hang out with him for a second, basically. It doesn't really do anything other than lower his anger just a tiny bit when we call him.
I'm pretty sure you'd have to scream at him from that distance.
You ring the bell.
Well, that's horrifying.
Wait for it. So this gives you a sense of scale. The one I've been raising on my main file is basically a giant eyeball with legs. So the eyeball takes up most of this screen when I'm talking to him.
That's not great.
So we can talk to Betrayk, and it'll say, you know, how they're feeling, and it will lower their anger a little bit. This basically just gives you an idea of what growth stage they're in. Because just like human beings, they hit certain points in their lifespan, and they have better chance and more potential to grow their stats and things like that.
Gotcha.
Then you can ask the monster what they want to do. So Holly says let's do some drills. Looks like Betrayk doesn't have a particular preference.
So where are these monsters prior to coming to our ranch?
So the monsters were sealed in disc stones.
By whom?
The Ultramen. And basically, what this says is the monsters hung out with humans for a long time, but then they started causing problems because obviously giant monsters.
Right.
So the Ultramen came along and sealed them in discs until there was peace, and then like slowly they're being regenerated so that we can raise them.
So what you're saying is the world wasn't ready for Betrayk.
Yeah, and now, of course, you know, it's just like the whole alligator down the toilet thing. Like, some people just let their monsters go, and they just started raising themselves in the wild. So there are wild kaiju.
Okay.
Okay, so drills. Basically, you're gonna give them exercises, and you have a regular one and a different one. Okay, so that just basically remember our stats, which we've already done. Certain kaiju prefer certain stats over others. It doesn't really tell you, but you get a kind of idea from their base stats, what they're good at.
Mm-hmm. So here's something fun. I pulled that muscle in my back, and now it hurts when I take a deep breath. Mm-hmm.
So, we have, so you'll see here, like, every location will raise different stats.
Okay.
So planting seeds is one of the drills. Watering plants is a different drill. So planting seeds just raises life. Watering plants will raise life and defense, but lower skill. So make us less accurate.
Okay.
So it's a trade-off, and it's more tiring to do the heavier drills. So I think... So normally, when you look at your monster, they have a preferred drill. Betrayal seems like just a go-with-the-flow type of dude, because he does not have many preferences whatsoever.
Yeah.
He likes two things, he dislikes one thing, and he doesn't want bad food. That's pretty much his thing.
He's a pretty chill guy.
Yeah. He has no preferred drills, so he just does whatever.
Do these monsters actually have a sex, or do we get to make it up?
You're just pretty much making it up because you combine them to make another monster, but it's like a ritual thing. It's not like
satanic.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, okay. So we always want some skill, but he has enough skill for like the first 2 ranks of tournaments and stuff like that. Speed's okay. Defense is bad. This guy gains weight easily, so it's going to be hard to rely on speed over defense.
We must be related.
He has really low life. We probably want to focus on his power over his intelligence. Yeah, so he doesn't have a preference. Some of these will actually give us items, like planting seeds can give us produce. Windmill Turner and removing trees can give us like spices. Treasure hunting is a wide variety of things. Fishing can give us fish. Snow sculpting can give us ice blocks, which our dude does not like. Snowproofing I don't do much because it lowers your life.
A lot of these tasks sound like hipster baby names.
Yeah, dig a hot spring. Cooking can give you special foods, but they're limited. Sculpting and fossil surveying can give you some stuff as well. So basically everything can give you something other than just the stat bonuses. I say we focus on his life for now, just so we can check out some things.
Yeah, okay. I can agree with that.
So if we repeat the thing, you can see the territory gauge underneath the location name.
Right.
Once we max that out, we get higher stat gains from each time we go there. But our monster hates doing the same thing over and over. Like eventually they'll just get pissed off and refuse to do it, and then their anger gauge will max out even if it's almost empty. Also, wild kaiju can attack and lower the gauge, but you can fight them, and fighting lowers anger and gives you a stat bonus. So, anyway, let's start with planting seeds. Let's see how Betrayed does.
Aggressive.
It's also interesting if you've played a Monster Rancher game, you can see just the sense of scale versus like you would send them to like plow a field and they would plow like a small field. On this, you gotta do just like planting a whole farm. So we gained 13 life, which isn't much, but our dude is a newborn. You can see there his fatigue has gone down a little, and we don't ever want to let it get beneath the center one, if we can help it, because it'll start affecting his lifespan. So, we can either continue raising life or move on to something else. I like to do 2 of one thing and then move on so they don't get angry.
Okay.
It will still get angry, but the anger gauge has not been added yet because we're still basically in the tutorial stage. Gotta say, the Bimstar is not growing on me.
Bimstar.
That's what creature species this guy is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just I don't dig it that much.
Patrake is the funniest name I've ever heard, though. Like, I'll never get over that.
So, we've done some drills. They're fatigued. Now it's going to tell us how to rest. So, as you can see, our fatigue's in the middle. That's where we want to rest. We'll use an item that reduces fatigue, but we can't do that yet. So, we're going to rest. And they added an interesting thing to this where their quality of rest is kind of random. Based on what type of rest, like dreams and stuff they have.
It's sleep standing up?
Yeah, that's really weird.
That's really gotta hurt his neck.
Most every other monster has either sat down. Now, my first monster is based on a monster who in the Ultraman series apparently, like, was a bad guy but tried to be like, hey, let's talk it out. And he, like, had a coffee table.
Okay.
So every time I would have my monster rest, he would have the gigantic coffee table sitting in front of him.
Okay.
And also one of his attacks is he puts down a coffee table and then gets a cup of coffee and sits in front of it and then converses with them to convince them to stop fighting, which mostly is just used to reduce their guts level.
That is brilliant. Like, absolutely brilliant. Next level comedy, to be quite honest.
We got a letter.
We just got a letter. We just got a letter.
Sometimes you'll receive letters. That's pretty much all you need to know. Sometimes they matter, but most of the time, it's just kind of either notice or there's a sale at the item store where the item store isn't open yet, so it was just a thing. So strength seems to be a good place for our guy to focus. We don't necessarily want to focus on intelligence. Skill will be important. Speed not as important for this guy, I don't think. Sculpting will be important. I think we should focus on defense as well. So I said we do 2 defense, then go back to life, and just kind of switch off.
Okay, sounds good to me.
So, this guy is going to go repair a pyramid in the desert.
Ooh.
Let's see how well he does. So you can get failures, you can get goof off, you can get success, and you can get super success. So failures and goofing off, they don't get anything. Success, they get a stat boost, and super success, they get a great boost. Also, in this game, they introduced your monsters get tired of the food if you feed them the same food over and over.
Well, that is good and bad.
Yeah.
It adds to the, not necessarily realism, but the
verisimilitude is the word, I believe.
How many syllables was that?
Like 3.
Holy verisimilitude, not even close.
Okay, well, Patrake is satisfied with that chunk of meat.
I am really happy. There's a muffin. What is that?
That is Dada.
Horrifying.
So this is our first rival breeder.
It's horrifying.
Not that person, not the Kaiju, the girl in the corner.
Oh.
Her name is May. She's the daughter of the richest family on the island.
Shocker. An antagonist appears.
So, there was these things called errantries. So if you don't know what errantry is, errant knights used to be questing knights that just went off and rode around and did their thing. Like,
Okay.
they went around righting wrongs or whatever. Did shit today.
Or whatever.
They were basically mercenaries, but they were knights.
Okay.
Errantry used to be go off to a certain place, raise certain stats. You might get a new move, and you could run into a monster at the end that you would fight for a bounty. They've changed errantry a bit here, where it still does the whole you focus on certain stats, and that's how you get new techniques, but the categories of moves they've assigned to breeders.
Mm-hmm.
And the way errantry works now is you send your monster off to train with a breeder who's agreed to do errantry with you.
Okay.
Basically, the way you do that is every rank of the official tournaments, you're going to run into a new breeder who will do errantry with you. You just have to beat them in the tournament.
Okay, so abusive, but I like it.
So every time you meet one of these guys, they basically come to your ranch and they're like, hey, fight me.
Yeah. You can catch hands.
And it doesn't really affect much, but I do like to humble them. Because they come to my ranch.
I like the verbiage.
And they're like, you'll never beat me in this game.
Bet money.
And like the way this one presents it is they're like, oh, we went to the same academy. I'd like to test our skills to see where we're at. Because we both just graduated.
Right.
And like, basically you came out here to show out and try and like show me that you're already doing better than me at the start.
So you're going to show up with like the best thing they have is, what is SKI?
Skill. Accuracy, basically.
Hi, little AJ, where you been? So basically, they brought this garbage.
Yeah, so each of them has like their own signature monster. That's their partner that they keep.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot about this too, little AJ. This is Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher, and Dr. Mr. Fuji has been introducing it to me bit by bit here. He says it's something like Pokemon, but I'm getting sexy Pokemon vibes here.
So, again, not a huge fan of this Bimstar species. This particular one didn't get great defense to start with, and it seems like it wants to be a defense monster.
What are you talking about, little AJ? What kind of cave have you been in?
So basically, they came in here, they knocked out our monster, and they left.
Oh, well. Attractiveness is relative. Let's see. Let me do some different verbiage on that. It's souped up Pokemon. What about this monster isn't sexy if we're going that way with it? Look at that. The claws.
I mean, it's got its pubes just hanging out of its mouth tummy.
I'm sorry, you don't like that?
No.
Is that not your thing?
No.
Well, you don't know. Beauty's in the eye of the I like it.
Okay.
Why is it wet?
Let's just get real close. change out the monster already, I would.
Keep the name.
That's fine.
The name is just too funny.
It's not going to let us go back to town until after the first official tournament.
Yeah, honestly, AJ, it is a losing battle, guy.
Well, somebody new shows up.
Oh, good. Somebody else to slap us around.
He's going to talk to us about errand trees, but we haven't unlocked any errand trees yet. Oh, right. This person.
Oh my god. It kind of reminds me of my favorite manga, Dragon Head.
Okay. So I guess we're getting a free errand tree for the first time. So the interesting thing about this is, when you get full access to errand tree, the breeders will move around between locations. So you need to have a specific stat linked to each one at a rank, but because they move around to different locations, it can be like, so this one wants you to have high skill to learn moves from her.
Right.
But she might go to the place that raises HP and strength that week, and so you can go there and train under her trying to get a new move, you know, while getting the stats that you want instead of focusing on their stat. So this is what's going to happen every time we do errand tree.
That thing is appealing thing. Honestly, AJ, I'm glad that you've come to the dark side.
So, week 1 is distance running. I kind of wish they did a better job on this because every errand tree is the same.
There is no way our big rock thing is gonna outrun that. Nerd!
We got 16 intelligence, which we don't need, but we couldn't go anywhere else. Next, we do endurance training.
Is he like a stingray?
Who?
Our dude?
He's like a tummy. He's a black hole.
Are they just yelling at each other?
Yeah.
So they just scream at each other for 15 minutes in the woods and then look at you like, did we do it?
We're doing perception training.
What is this like? This is like couples therapy, but aggressive. He says he feels scammed. So, what is the other thing again?
It's a dada.
A dada?
Mm-hmm. That's the name of the alien species.
I don't care for it.
Yeah, I never liked it.
I didn't like the way they nodded at me either.
There's a whole formula you have to figure for like learning new moves, but it was unlikely that he was going to learn a new move better anyway.
No.
But he got a bunch of intelligence and skill, which it didn't need.
Well, at least we know how to do it now, I suppose.
Yeah.
So is this the Elite Six?
Those are the other breeders who will train you in errand trees. I have not unlocked the last one because it's really hard to finish the A rank official tournament. I'm getting there.
So how long have you been playing this particular game?
Probably about a week and a half.
Oh, okay. And then this one just came out about 2 weeks ago, is that right?
Yeah.
So far out of 10, how are you rating this one?
The game itself or this monster?
This game.
I say we have to go by category, because like, as a Monster Rancher game, I would say it's like 7.5 or 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Graphically, it's nice. It's probably the nicest looking Monster Rancher I've played. As far as do I like these kaiju even as much as I like the monsters? No, not at all. Like, there's a couple that I like, but for the most part, it's just, it's been years since they released a new Monster Rancher game, and this is a Monster Rancher game with an Ultra Man skin.
Okay, so basically shut up and be happy?
I mean, it's doing well, so I'm hoping that this will lead to a new regular Monster Rancher. Because it's sold out in Japan to the point that they do not have enough copies to go around.
Well, that's promising to say the least.
Yeah, but I want Monster Rancher. I don't necessarily want Kaiju Rancher, you know?
Right.
The mechanics are there. They've polished a lot of stuff. There's still stuff that I miss from... So we don't really have a choice. We're going to the official E-Class tournament.
Oh my goodness. I'm excited.
I don't know if I am, but we'll find out. So you can go through the calendar, pick different tournaments. So like you go week by week or month by month, and it'll show you like what tournaments are on what weeks, and you can sign up for one ahead of time. So it'll give you a warning the week before, but you can get prizes, you can get money, and official tournaments are the only way to increase the monster's rank. So you have a rank as a breeder, which is a number, and you have your monster will get a letter rank for every official tournament that they win. And official tournaments happen every 3 months in the game. We have not gotten very strong because we have done very little training.
So we're gonna get stomped.
No. We've basically done 2 life trainings, 2 defense trainings, and then we've wasted a month on air entry doing intelligence and skill, which we didn't need. But we're still an E rank, so it's not too big of a deal. Like, this guy has high defense and high life, but his other stats suck. We are always going to hit this guy because he has 115 speed.
Okay, good. So you're a bully.
I mean, our job here is to try... Also, if your loyalty isn't high enough, your monster can just do confusion instead of doing a move.
Mm-hmm.
So the good thing about Bimstar species is that their guts regenerate extremely fast.
Oh, check that out. There's a
Sock.
sock?
Yeah.
How do you say that?
Sock in somebody in the mouth.
Sock him in the mouth. Sock it to me.
Alright, so we got 5 seconds, and as long as we don't take too many hits, alright, we're pretty much good on this. A lot of times I like to do an attack just so it can took the last second or two. because we want to make sure that we have the higher percentage of life at the end of the match. Also, if you get KO'd, there's a chance to get injured, which means losing time. Because you'll spend weeks trying to heal. So, we have another Bim star in this fight. Also, we can look at the other monster's stats before the fight. So you see that stance that he's in?
He's kind of cute. He's way cuter than ours.
Well, he's got an Ella King subspecies, but also the reason he's looking down like that, if you look at his fatigue, he's exhausted.
I can really relate to that being 1 a.m. I can't stop yawning.
Yeah. He's also only got 2 moves, so if we wanted to stay at mid-range as much as we could just keep pelting him with the attack that we have there. I think once we finish this official tournament, we can take a break. But...
Okay, that sounds good to me.
So we have a pure breed Bim style. This guy has an Ella King Bim style.
Mutt.
Ella King is pretty solid as an all-arounder, and you can see this guy's stats. Solid all-arounder, but not good at any one thing.
He's a Jill of all trades.
He's
good.
We can keep him in range, and if he can't get into closer melee range, we can just keep pegging him with charge. Which is why it's important to go on range to learn new attacks, so you have at least one attack for each range. Also, that guy had like 73% chance to hit the next. So you can't always rely on the percentages. But it is important to know that the more guts you have over the minimum for using the move, the easier it is to hit.
So I think you might actually knock this one out.
Yeah.
Whereas we previously have just ran the clock down.
Yeah. It's still safer to try and run the clock down, but I think we got this guy.
Oh, same time.
Also, you get an extra 1,000 for every KO that you get.
Nice. Well, you came right at the finish line for that one.
Mm-hmm. I always try to fill in the last second or two with an attack if I can, just to eat up the last second so they can't attack you. Because I have once or twice had it where they do, like, get that last hit in on me.
That looks like the alien from Men in Black that he decided not to shoot because it was just blowing its nose.
Yeah. I tried raising one of these guys. You have to unlock them. He's an all-arounder, and I just couldn't figure out what to do with him because his attacks are all mixed. So like, red is physical moves, blue are intelligence moves. You're having to raise 2 attack stats instead of just 1 to focus on, you know?
Right.
Because you only have so much time to raise the monster before it loses its ability to, you know, gain stats. And then eventually it'll get to the point where they're like, hey, this guy's old, you need to retire him. And if you don't listen to them and take them into a fight and they get KO'd, they will instantly be injured and drop out of the tournament. But this guy has almost no defense. So if we can connect with him a couple times, I think we'll be doing good. But I do believe he has a good amount of speed. Also, you can either dash or knock back the opponent to try and get range the way you want to be. So, I'm sure you can tell, like, the designs are kind of hard to connect with.
Right.
I think. Like, if you're not an Ultraman fan,
Mm-hmm.
these do not have the charm. Like
the big baby-eyed Pokemon.
Well, I'll show you later on. I'll show you some. And if anybody's watching, they can look up like a gallery of Monster Rancher monsters. They have more character. Obviously, you know, Ultraman. All the monsters in their show were dudes in rubber suits.
Right.
So there's only so much variety you're gonna get out of that. There are some cool looking kaiju, but for the most part, you're gonna be raising a giant thing that's based on a dude in a rubber costume.
So the man in the rubber costume here, he had bananas for hands?
I'm not sure.
Edward Banana Hands?
Is there food?
Oh, so now we can actually connect with something different.
Yeah. He was promoted to D class.
He does not look horrifying in the dark at all.
So we got, yeah, this is where they tell us we get access to spices for our foods. So we can add different tags and change some of the stats that it changes.
So I'd definitely be interested in seeing a different kaiju.
Yeah, we can try out a couple before we head out. So I'm just gonna give him, so like I'm not gonna give him grass because that's just messed up. But I am gonna give him this minimum food this month because I'm probably gonna put this dude into the association. So normally, yeah, she says we can go to the city. Yeah, okay. We're probably gonna make us do the cookie thing. Yeah. So we're gonna deal with the cookies before we can move on. So the neat thing is a letter from this. This is letting us know that we went up in breeder rank because we finished an official tournament rank for the first time.
Good.
So as your breeder rank goes up, you will be able to unlock new kaiju breeds.
Mm-hmm.
Like there will be events that can only happen once you hit a certain rank. Also, we're getting another letter. That looks like the shop is open. And that's cool. But we'll deal with that later. Okay, so the cookie shop is where we would go to get new traits, but we're not going to mess with that for now. So, the cool thing that they did add to this is that it used to be you'd have to like go to the research center, freeze your monster, go to the altar, pull the monster, get the new monster, go freeze that monster, get a new, like you'd have to decide what you're gonna do with the monster. But now you can just have 15 monsters. You can just only raise one at a time.
Okay. Kind of like how Pokemon used to be with the
Yeah.
PC system.
And now you can just be like, I'm gonna pull this guy out. Okay, so we can do memory boards, keywords, codes, fine. Let's see what this season supplies kaiju is. So basically, free kaiju based on the season. We have Alien Voltan. I have not raised one of these guys.
It's actually pretty cool.
It's a dude with bat mask and crab claws.
Oh my god.
It's just a dude, like, we'll see. But I say we use a memory board. So what do you want to do? Do you want to use, we can use a phone, we can try the Dave and Buster's card again.
Let's let's use a phone.
Okay, you want to use mine or yours?
Let's use mine.
Okay, so just hold it up to the Pro controller. As long as you have NFC enabled. Let's begin the regeneration. So, I have found from using my phone several times that it changes. Like there tends to be a theme connected to it. But
So if I remember correctly, previously you got... Wow.
So this is a Nova with a Bimstar subspecies.
That is the scariest thing I've seen in a month. If I remember correctly, you borrowed my phone before, and its nature was naughty for everything.
Yes. So, this guy is made of tissue paper.
What?
Yeah. So he's... so I looked up a lot of these Kaiju because I wanted to find something to connect with them on. So I went like on the Ultraman wiki to like learn what their episodes of the show were like and everything like that. So this guy is similar to the Bozu, like the little puppets that they would hang up in window sills and stuff like that to either call rain or try and get rid of rain.
Okay.
And they're shaped like that. So basically, I know it's, nobody can see this because, but what they would do is they would take like a ball or something, or like a piece of cotton ball or something, and then they would put a piece of tissue paper over it. And then they would just tie a piece of string around that to form the head, and then you have kind of like a ghost.
Okay.
And then you would tie the string up in the window, and it would be like, you would ask, it's basically, you would sing something that's similar to like Rain, Rain, Go Away. Like we would used to sing when we were kids, like Rain, Rain, Go Away. Right. That's what you would do. There's a specific song in Japanese for the Bozu. This guy in the show, he came to Earth. Basically, all the aliens come to Earth for some reason to take it over.
Okay.
This guy came just to cause chaos. So he disguises himself as an actual Bozu doll and hangs himself in a tree. And then somebody goes to go get it.
Is it like in the Redwood Forest? He's massive.
No. It's like the Power Rangers thing where, like, they start off as regular human size and then something happens and they have...
The big man.
Yeah. So he hangs himself in a tree and this guy sees it. I don't remember exactly what led to it, but basically the dude yelled at it and pissed it off. And it turned red. So the normal baseline species of this thing is like crimson colored. And so he turns crimson colored and just like knocks the guy down and scares him away. And then he just wanders around and he's trying to like get people's blood or something like that. And then he turns giant and fights Ultraman, basically. But, so, he looks like this. He's got one claw arm and one whip arm. But he also, because it was like a gimmick thing with each monster, they had to have a thing that was a gimmick for their episode. This guy, they would take the string that he was tied on, and they would just spin him, so he turned into a disc. So they call him the UFO monster, because he just turns into a giant disc, because they just keep spinning it, and then they run it into Ultraman.
That's kind of cool.
But anyway, so this guy has attacks that are like that. He goes from like looking mundane like this to like having a really creepy face with needle fangs.
Oh.
And like calling down blood rain.
Okay, yeah, he's definitely my favorite so far.
Yeah. So this guy, he can be difficult to raise because he focuses mostly on intelligence, skill, and speed. He does not care about defense. He normally doesn't have high power, but because he's mixed with a Bimstar, he's got a higher base power. And their life is harder to raise. So basically, you're looking at like the glassiest cannon raising this guy. I have not actually raised one. I do have one saved, but not. I haven't tried raising it yet. But we can still take this guy with us. Or we can just say nah, and we can regenerate him at any time from our book.
Yeah, I'm okay either way.
So we can always come back and grab another one of these guys if we want. So when you generate a monster for the first time, it's added to your field guide. So now, we can regenerate these two. And it'll have like random likes and dislikes and personality when we do that. But otherwise its base stats will be live. When we use a memory board like this, their base stats are random. Okay, so we're going to generate another one. Do you want to use your phone, my phone, Dave and Buster's?
Let's try my phone again, see if we get something different.
I've gotten several different species off of my phone, and I don't know whether it's because it's reading the clock or where it's actually reading, but it changes over time. I've sat there and done it like 5 or 6 monsters in a row and rarely gotten the exact same monster. It's also that some stuff will be locked because you don't have the breed open yet. Oh, there you go. That's a Gonku.
So that's what you're raising right now.
I'm raising a Gonku that is also a Dada subbreed.
Okay. Well, that's definitely a yes for me. I do like that one.
Okay. So this guy is another intelligence kind, but he's a bit beefier. So when it says the memory board does offer further potential, that means we got this guy, but there's something we haven't unlocked that it could have unlocked.
Okay.
So if you see this guy here, his skill and intelligence are significantly higher. His speed is okay. His defense is bad. His guts recovery and move speed are horrible.
So we should not take him.
No. I mean, this guy is built for like slow big hits on that particular setup.
Okay.
Alright. I say we do 2 more.
Okay.
Just to see what variety of creature we can get for now. Well, there's another Bimstar. Gonku Bimstar.
Oh, so he's red.
He is covered in eyeballs.
That is spooky. I do like that.
So, same health. It has even power and intelligence, good amount of skill, decent amount of speed. He's slow to move, but faster guts recovery. I would say this guy's a side grade from our other Bimstar. The fact that his Bimstar's trait is that he builds weight faster. So you have to watch what you're going to feed him if you're going to build him for speed.
Right.
Also, I just don't like Bimstar.
So it sounds like you got a thing.
It's just, it's not a good design in my opinion. Alright, one more.
Last one. Last one, best one.
I will say there's 2 that I really like that you can get early on, and that is Sevenger and Big Crab Guy.
Okay.
There's a crab guy and there's a robot guy that you can get early on that I like. Oh, here's your Vulcan. Let's see what species it is. Alien Vulcan. So just basic. This is a guy we could get for free this month. This season.
Sucks.
But he will have different stats. So he's got really low health, bad power, really high intelligence for a starting monster, really good skill, really good speed, low defense. But he's got super fast guts recovery and he moves quickly. So he's very mobile. His guts rebuilds quickly. He's got a good start. Now you can see he's got an E rank in intelligence and speed, which is pretty high for a newborn. And his stat total is 6,900, which is pretty solid.
So I'll follow your thought process on this one.
I have not raised one of these guys, but he's got some pretty good stats.
Alright.
I don't like that he's got like feather pants. but you know, so we still gotta keep the name, right?
Patrake. Are we gonna name all of them Patrake?
We'll probably have to put like the second or whatever. But we'll wait till we're like fusing monsters to do that. Alright, you're gonna have to remind me how to spell this.
Traick? So what is this, Patrake I? Patracus.
Yeah. Okay, now real quick, we're gonna give him a cookie.
All right. I like that fish drawing.
Yeah. Some sort of giant kaiju. I'm not sure which one it is.
Spooky. I appreciate it.
Okay, so this is like other stuff. We can either just have them give us a random one for 1,500.
Okay.
Or we can use a memory board, just like we would with a kaiju, for cheaper.
Well,
1,000.
We know what it likes, right?
I mean, this will just give us a random cookie, basically. So this guy makes speed easier to raise with drills. So it means his speed is going to be easy to raise. But he's also got an open slot. So we'll get a cookie, and then we get to choose whether or not we're going to hold on to it or give it to it.
Okay.
So, I find, because it's just cheaper to use a memory board, that I just farm them that way. Let's try it. There we go. It's 500 gold cheaper to do it with a memory board than it is to ask for a random one.
Really?
So, like this one, I am not going to give to him because it gives him the trait designed for rage, which makes anger easier to raise.
That sounds awful.
But it does give him 90 life, 50 power, and 70 skill. We're not gonna give him that cookie. Alright, for real, let's just figure out a cookie to give to this guy, and then I'm good.
Alright.
So it gives you a random one based on the traits every time. Like, you're more likely to get a wider range from this stuff. Okay, that's exactly the same one.
Oh, good.
I'm sure that's good for some monster. So it is useful to have, it is useful to have rage, like, going into a fight.
Right.
But you gotta, like, balance it. Okay, so intelligence and skill, those are great. Battle. So I think this is a good one because mid-range is probably where this guy wants to be anyway.
Okay.
It gives him intelligence and skill, which are his primary stats. And this activates during battle. So that's a good cookie.
It's a good cookie.
And we're going to put it in that slot. So the important thing to remember is that unless you find a specific item in adventures, you cannot undo the cookies once you put them on.
Gotcha.
And when you use that item, it gets rid of all of them except for its primary.
Oof.
So you gotta try and make sure you're using what you want to use. So once it gets to 1 year old, you'll get a third slot, and 2 years old, it'll get a fourth.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. It looks like the game has a lot of potential with a playthrough.
Yep.
So I guess what we'll do is wrap it up here for the night, since we're looking at about 1:10 a.m.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll be able to stream something tomorrow before karate.
Yeah.
As for me, as you guys know, I'm a Red Cross volunteer, and there is a hurricane slamming the Daytona area of Florida right now. The eastern coast of Florida is getting some pretty good storm surge right now. I'm not really sure the extent of the damage, but I do know that it's that a lot of people have been evacuated who do live on that coast. So as that storm progresses and moves up into Georgia, Alabama, and the Carolinas, I will potentially be opening shelters in those areas. But it's kind of a play it by ear thing. We're just genuinely hoping that, you know, maybe this just blows over and nobody really needs that much help, because after Fort Myers, after Puerto Rico, after everything that has been going on this year, the fires, the tornadoes, I mean, I'm exhausted. I'm ready to turn off my Red Cross deployments for the rest of the year. I know that.
Yeah.
But I won't. You know me. I'll be back out there. Either way, I really appreciate you guys sticking with me, and I have a lot planned for us. We have a celebratory party coming up in which there will be giveaways and different parties, prizes, just a bunch of stuff going on. I'm extremely tired if you guys can't tell, so I'm going to make this rather short. Check out Discord, check out all the socials. We're becoming more active in those areas, and we're really focusing on Twitch right now to try to get to affiliate status. We are 23 follows away from affiliate status, and that is extremely exciting. Outside of that, you guys can catch me playing Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3, Pokemon Unite, Fall Guys. Oh gosh, what else do I play? Don't Starve. A lot of spooky games, because I will definitely be celebrating Halloween for the rest of the year, because I missed it doing a Red Cross trip. And yes, AJ, you did miss it. Also, tell me a little bit about this Unite hacker while I'm wrapping this up, because that interests me highly. So the drawing competitions are going to be back on once I know for sure if I'm going to be deployed for this hurricane that's hitting Florida right now. I will obviously keep you guys up to date by the minute on Discord, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. God, I've got so many. TikTok, Instagram, Reddit. God, I just have everything except Facebook, honestly. I think that's just about it, right? Yeah. So I'll try to stream tomorrow and give you guys more of an update. So, little AJ, if you're on Twitch, make sure you follow me over there. I'm only 23 follows away from that affiliate status. So I will see you all in the next video, and everybody in my southern states, make sure you stay safe with the storm coming in. Have a great night, everybody.